The announcement that France intends to procure Sweden's Saab GlobalEye marks one of the most consequential shifts in Europe's airborne early warning and control landscape in decades. Signed as a declaration of intent at the Paris Air Show in June 2025, the deal foresees France acquiring 2 GlobalEye aircraft with the option for 2 more. While the contractual details are still being finalized, the agreement is already reverberating across NATO, signaling both an industrial and strategic realignment. The GlobalEye is not merely a replacement for France's aging E-3F Sentry fleet. It represents a broader push for modern, multi-domain surveillance that is set to reshape NATO's eyes in the sky. For decades, NATO's airborne surveillance has relied heavily on the Boeing E-3 AWACS. The French Air and Space Force, like several allies, has long operated a small fleet of E-3Fs, which entered service in the 1980s. Despite upgrades, the platform has become increasingly outdated, both in terms of radar technology and airframe sustainability. Rising maintenance costs, limited availability, and shrinking capability gaps have pushed France to seek a successor. GlobalEye, built on the Bombardier Global 6000 airframe, brings with it advanced AER radar, maritime surveillance capabilities, and electro-optical sensors, offering a truly multi-domain approach. From a technological standpoint, GlobalEye offers several advantages over the E-3. First, the AER radar system, mounted on top of the fuselage, provides 300-degree coverage and can detect targets at longer ranges, including low-flying cruise missiles and stealthier threats that the E-3 often struggles with. Its integration of surface and maritime surveillance capabilities allows France to monitor not just the airspace, but also the Mediterranean and Atlantic maritime domains, a critical factor for a country with extensive overseas territories and sea lanes to protect. Second, the aircraft itself is far more efficient. The Global 6000 business jet platform offers longer endurance, lower operating costs, and easier maintenance, compared to the aging Boeing 707 airframe of the E-3F. Yet, comparisons to the E-7 Wedgetail, already adopted by several NATO allies including the UK and Turkey, are unavoidable. The Wedgetail, based on the Boeing 737 platform, has proven its worth as a highly capable AEW&C asset with strong interoperability across NATO. It offers 360-degree radar coverage and has the advantage of being selected by multiple partners, creating commonality in training, logistics, and operations. France's choice of GlobalEye over the Wedgetail suggests a deliberate strategy, not merely following the majority, but diversifying Europe's surveillance architecture with a platform that better suits French needs. Saab's emphasis on modularity, multi-domain sensing, and cooperation with French industry, such as Saab Technics for maintenance, adds further rationale to this choice. Strategically, the GlobalEye deal underscores Europe's desire for greater autonomy in defense procurement. At a time when the EU is pushing for defense industrial independence, France's move away from a purely American solution carries political weight. By partnering with Sweden, Paris is reinforcing intra-European defense ties while still contributing to NATO's collective capability. For Sweden, newly joined NATO in 2024, the contract is a major diplomatic and industrial breakthrough, elevating Saab's role from a regional supplier to a critical NATO enabler. It also complements Sweden's broader portfolio of exports, from Gripen fighters to CV-90 infantry fighting vehicles, signaling Stockholm's quiet rise as an arsenal for Europe. For NATO, the importance of this acquisition extends beyond France. The alliance has long recognized its vulnerability in airborne early warning. The NATO-operated fleet of E-3s is itself nearing obsolescence, with replacements not expected until the 2030s. As Russia expands its long-range strike capabilities, and China demonstrates its ability to project power into Europe's periphery, NATO urgently requires more modern, resilient, and flexible AEW&C assets. France's acquisition of GlobalEye not only strengthens its national capability, but also plugs into the alliance's broader surveillance network, offering redundancy and improved resilience. The platform's ability to track aerial, maritime, and ground targets simultaneously gives NATO a sharper edge in multi-domain operations. The deal also has economic and industrial implications. Saab's defense sector has been on a growth trajectory, with revenues climbing and exports expanding. Winning France as a customer not only validates GlobalEye's competitiveness, but also enhances Sweden's credibility in the global market. It positions Saab as a direct competitor to Boeing in a domain traditionally dominated by American firms. Moreover, with localized industrial participation through Sabena Technics, the deal resonates with France's long-standing preference for sovereign control over defense sustainment and technology access. The GlobalEye is also future-proof in ways that older platforms are not. Its open systems architecture allows for software upgrades, integration of new sensors, and adaptation to emerging threats, from hypersonic weapons to swarming drones. Its endurance of over 11 hours enables persistent coverage without the logistical footprint required by older, heavier aircraft. For France, whose global commitments stretch from the Sahel to the Indo-Pacific, such flexibility is indispensable. Critics may question the interoperability of GlobalEye within NATO, given that several allies are converging on the E-7 Wedgetail. However, NATO has long operated a diverse mix of platforms, and diversity can also be a strength, providing resilience against single-point failures. Moreover, the alliance's focus on network-centric warfare means that as long as data links and standards are adhered to, integration will not be insurmountable. Indeed, the addition of GlobalEye could enrich NATO's collective picture, offering a different radar perspective and sensor suite that complements, rather than duplicates, existing assets. In geopolitical terms, the deal reflects France's balancing act between alliance solidarity and strategic autonomy. Paris has long advocated for European defense independence, while also being a committed NATO member. By selecting GlobalEye, France achieves both, bolstering NATO's surveillance at a time of heightened threat, while reinforcing European industrial capacity. For Sweden, this is more than an export contract. It is an entry ticket into the heart of NATO operations, aligning Stockholm's defense industry with the alliance's strategic needs. Looking ahead, the impact of GlobalEye in French service will be closely watched by allies. If the platform performs as expected, it could encourage further European customers, potentially reshaping the AEW&C market in Europe. With NATO preparing for high-end conflict scenarios from the Baltic Sea to the Mediterranean, GlobalEye's ability to tie together air, sea, and land surveillance in a single platform may prove decisive. As the E-3 fleet winds down and the E-7 enters service, Saab's GlobalEye now joins the front line of platforms defining the alliance's future situational awareness. In sum, the decision by France to procure GlobalEye is far more than a procurement choice. It is a statement of strategic intent. It enhances France's national defense, strengthens NATO's collective capabilities, and deepens European defense cooperation. For Sweden, it is proof that a mid-sized defense industry can still shape the strategic landscape of the world's most powerful military alliance. And for NATO, it signals that its eyes in the sky are evolving, more agile, more multi-domain, and more resilient to the challenges of a turbulent century. If you found this analysis valuable, please support the channel by subscribing, turning on notifications, sharing with friends, and considering a contribution to keep these discussions alive. Your support ensures that we can continue to deliver in-depth commentary on the critical defense issues shaping our world today.